Welcome to today's Catholic Daily Readings from Christus Dominus Bread of Life. A reading from the first book of Maccabees. Soon afterward, King Antiochus made a great journey into the upper regions to collect tribute from the cities of Persia. And Lysias went to the king with the greatest power, and he was the guardian and protector of the kingdom in his absence. But as for Ptolemy, the son of Dorymenes, he was appointed governor in the region of Judea. And when Seleucus heard that Antiochus was dead, he dared to take the kingdom. But Lysias, perceiving the plan, stood up against him, and the king sent to him the Roman legate, Apollonius, with an army of 20,000 foot soldiers and 2,000 cavalry, so that he might subdue the whole region of Judea by force and by arms. And they came into Judea and approached Beth-horon, and the king approached with a great force. Then Judas went out to meet them with 6,000 men, and they saw that the army was strong, and he prayed and said, "Blessed are you, O Savior of Israel, who crushed the power of the giant through your servant David, and who delivered up the army of foreigners into the hands of Jonathan, the son of Saul, and his armor-bearer. Deliver this army into the hands of your people Israel, and let them fight for your honor and your glory. Shut them up in the hands of the people and the power of their warriors, and let their strength be confounded, and bring them down before your face. Let them be terrified by their own power, and let them know that these men fight under a heavenly power." And so they fought until evening, and behold, Judas saw that the army of the king was strong, and he said to his men, "Do not be afraid of them, and do not fear their multitude, for they are men, but we fight for the sake of heaven and the Lord. Remember what they did to those who were before you, and they will do the same to you. But now fight like men, and we will conquer them for the sake of our brothers and the sanctuary." And the battle was joined, and the men of Antiochus were put to flight.
I will rejoice in your salvation, O Lord. My heart rises to praise your holy name. I give thanks with all my heart, for your wonders shine through every age. My enemies turn back and fall before you. For you stand as the judge of all nations. Your justice pours like burning light. Your truth uproots the wicked from the earth. You remember the afflicted. You lift the forgotten from the dust. You, O Lord, are the tower of the poor, the hope that does not perish. I will rejoice in your salvation, O Lord. Your hand destroys the snare of the wicked. You are my song in the shadow of trouble, my victory when darkness closes in. I will rejoice in your salvation, O Lord, for you do not forget the cry of the afflicted. The nations fall into their own traps, the pits they dug become their graves. But you, O God, remain forever. Your throne is justice and flame. You rebuke the proud and shatter the mighty. Yet you gather the humble to your own. Rise, O Lord, lift up the broken. Strengthen the weary who wait for you. Let the oppressed know their hope will Your justice thunders through the air. Your mercy sings through every generation. Let the nations see your glory. Let salvation shake the world. I will rejoice in your salvation, O Lord. My voice will rise like fire to heaven. You reign forever, my refuge and my song. The God who rescues, the God who restores. I will rejoice in your salvation, O Lord, now and forever. Amen. I will rejoice in your salvation, Lord.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. And some of the Sadducees, who deny that there is a resurrection, approached him, saying, Teacher, Moses has written for us, if a man's brother dies having a wife and he left no children, then his brother shall take the wife and raise up offspring for his brother. So there were 7 brothers. And the first took a wife, and he died without sons. And the next took her, and he died without sons. And the third took her. Likewise all 7 died without leaving any sons. And at the end the woman also died. So in the resurrection, whose wife will she be? For all 7 had her as a wife. And Jesus said to them, The sons of this age marry and are given in marriage, but those who will be considered worthy of that future age, and of the resurrection that is from the dead, neither marry nor take wives, but neither can they die any more. For they are like the angels, and they are sons of God, being sons of the resurrection. But that the dead rise again, even Moses indicated at the bush, when he calls the Lord the God of Abraham, and the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. But he is not the God of the dead, but of the living, for all live to him. And some of the scribes in response said, Teacher, you have spoken well. And they no longer dared to question him about anything. Join us for today's reflection. Today we remember Saint Cecilia. She was a Roman noblewoman in the 3rd century who vowed her virginity to God. Her family forced her into marriage anyway. On her wedding night, she told her new husband Valerian about her vow and the angel who guarded her. She expected rejection, maybe violence. Instead, Valerian asked to see the angel. She sent him to Pope Urban to be baptized. When he returned, he saw the angel. Then his brother Tiberius converted. Both brothers were martyred for burying Christian bodies. Then they came for Cecilia. They locked her in her own bathhouse and lit fires to suffocate her. She survived the night. They sent an executioner who struck her neck 3 times with a sword but failed to sever her head. Roman law prohibited a 4th blow, so they left her bleeding. She lived 3 days, preaching, giving away her possessions, converting her household, finally dying while singing to God. That's why she's patron saint of musicians, not because she sang well, because she sang while bleeding out over 3 days, because music was her response to death, because praise outlasted suffering. That kind of death only makes sense if you know what Jesus teaches in today's gospel. The Sadducees come to him with a trick question. A woman marries 7 brothers who all die. In the resurrection, whose wife is she? They don't believe in resurrection, so they're making it sound absurd. Jesus exposes their ignorance. You are misled because you do not know the scriptures or the power of God. Those worthy of resurrection neither marry nor are given in marriage. They can no longer die. They are like angels. They are children of God because they are the ones who will rise. Then Jesus makes the key statement. He is not God of the dead but of the living, for to him all are alive. God identifies himself as the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All 3 were dead for centuries when he said it, but he uses present tense. Their God, not was, is, because they're not dead to him. Death didn't end the relationship, it changed location. Cecilia understood this when she told Valerian about the angel, when she faced marriage she didn't want, when her husband and his brother were executed, when she was locked in the bathhouse to suffocate, when the sword struck her neck 3 times. Death wasn't the threat. Losing relationship with God was the threat, and death couldn't do that. King Antiochus died in bed in Persia after hearing his armies were defeated and the temple rededicated. Everything he'd built was destroyed. He said, "I am dying in bitter grief in a foreign land." He remained many days greatly depressed. That's dying without resurrection, without the God of the living, just bitter grief that everything you built dies with you. Cecilia spent 3 days bleeding from her neck, converting her household and giving away her possessions. Same awareness of approaching death, completely opposite response, because she wasn't losing what mattered, she was moving toward it. The Sadducees asked about marriage and resurrection because they couldn't imagine life without death structures. Marriage exists because people die. You need children to continue what you started. You need family to carry your name. You need covenant to bind people when feelings fade. All of it responds to death's reality. In resurrection, no one dies, so marriage fulfills its purpose and transforms into something else. You're living like the Sadducees, not because you deny resurrection intellectually. Because you're building everything around death structures, protecting your life, securing your future, hoarding your time, guarding your comfort. All of it assumes death ends what you've built, that you need to maximize now because later doesn't exist. Cecilia did the opposite. She defied her family's marriage arrangement because she'd already committed to God. That's insane if death is the end. You're giving up security, children, social standing, family approval. For what? A vow to someone invisible. But she knew the God of the living. Relationship with him outlasts everything death takes. When Valerian converted after seeing the angel, he didn't renegotiate the marriage. He accepted Cecilia's vow. Then he and his brother started burying Christian martyrs, which was illegal. That's how they got martyred. They chose death over compromise because they knew the God of the living. The psalm captures what this looks like. I will give thanks to you, O Lord, with all my heart. I will be glad and exult in you. The needy shall not always be forgotten, nor shall the hope of the afflicted forever perish. Cecilia lived this. She gave thanks while bleeding, was glad while dying. Her hope didn't perish when the sword struck, when the bathhouse fires failed to kill her, when she lay dying for 3 days, because her hope was in the God of the living, and the afflicted are alive to him. You think you're being wise by protecting what you have, by avoiding risk, by refusing sacrifice for God. You're actually choosing Antiochus's death, bitter grief, foreign land, dying convinced you're losing everything you built, because you built on what death destroys. Cecilia built on relationship with the God of the living, so death couldn't touch what mattered, couldn't diminish it, couldn't end it. She converted her husband by telling him about her vow, converted his brother by her witness, survived suffocation, preached while dying from sword wounds, sang while bleeding for 3 days because death was just changing location, not ending relationship. Stop living like death is the end. Stop building security on what death takes. Stop refusing sacrifice because you think this life is all there is. God identifies himself by relationship with people dead for centuries. They're alive to him. If you're his, death just changes where you are, not who you are, not whose you are. Cecilia sang while dying because she knew that. Antiochus despaired because he didn't. The Sadducees mocked resurrection because they couldn't imagine life structured differently than death requires. You're doing the same thing, protecting what death will take anyway, building what death will destroy, refusing what death can't touch because it costs what death will claim regardless. He is not God of the dead but of the living, for to him all are alive. Act like it.